believe this needs no introduction. I've definitely kept up a little bit of a persona the last few years. I've been making real videos with a very cultured gamer who plays only these more obscure hidden gem games and whatchamacallits. But that's no more than a facade! I used to play Roblox a lot, and actually, still do sometimes. Let me play... Roblox has been part of my life since around late 2012, and despite me not really actually having liked it for the past like 6 years, it was a really important part of my life for quite some time. I still remember playing the game with my cousin over Skype throughout 2013 to 2015. We'd sometimes go on the specific shitty adopt and raise a baby game, but the thing is, neither of us really understood English that well yet, so we would get our fun from the morph magic menu that every single game like this had, and closing ourselves inside the kitchen counters, or trying to get into the VIP houses without actually buying VIP because it costs a shit ton of ticks. Hold on. Ticks? Oh my god. I just remembered. So, seeing just how much the game has changed since then, I think it's excusable that I enjoy reminiscing about the times I spent on Roblox when I was younger. This doesn't work. 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 Time. It moves forward, and so does the Roblox client along with it. Unfortunately, as it does, it breaks the very essential scripts of old as a consequence. I'm not going to pretend like this is a new issue or anything. It's been like this since Roblox released. Neither can I really fully put the blame on the Roblox Corporation. These games were built for a very different, way jankier platform. It's understandable that they would want to upgrade to something that wasn't that. And after all, it's not Roblox's duty of applying upkeep to these old games. It's of the people that created them. Such as the fate of user-generated content in online video games. I can put it on them a little bit though. 2018. Tragedy struck 12-year-old me. Roblox forced something called filtering enabled onto every game old and new, which is something that made exploiting in Roblox games much harder by preventing people from making changes to the game on client side that would then be replicated on the server and in turn other clients. This begs the question, it took them that long? Yeah, crazy, right? And because it took them that long, around 12 years of Roblox history was now suddenly mostly broken. This isn't to say that such incidents haven't happened before, but never on such a large scale. What exact effect did this have? Well, if you're ever playing a game with a friend and there's a gun or something that kills them on your end but doesn't kill them on their end, that's an exemplary victim of filtering enabled. Already terrible that the thing designed to kill doesn't kill anymore, but let it be known it broke things of a grander scale than that. Then they added Sims characters into my block game that same year, but that's a whole different can of worms. I think that, along with other offenses such as deleting the forums entirely without leaving behind any sort of official archive, does enough to showcase in how much regard Roblox holds its own past. Complete and utter carelessness. This shit does not count. Usually this is where you download an older version of the game so you can go and relive your past, and while that's also true for Roblox as you'll find out in just a second, the interest required in preserving Roblox's past to the point of doing that only manifested around 2016. Since it's a lot harder to archive anything Roblox related and then have it work due to it being an online game with a bunch of little bits and pieces that need to correctly fall into place. Fortunately, that's where so-called old Roblox revivals come in. People willing to reignite the spark of old Roblox by hosting their own servers and making it easier to access to the wider public, just out of the goodness of their hearts. Most of these are god-awful or malware. As a rule of thumb, I would not trust any of these. Instead, I would suggest you look towards offline launchers, such as Only Retro Roblox. I'm not going to be saying that over and over the whole... Retro or Novetus, which nicely prepackage and patch the ginormous security holes and RCE exploits that we know out of these clients, returns functionality such as being able to load assets from the Roblox website again, though Novetus doesn't have this in its stable build yet, and grants us immense control over the game at the cost of playing mostly alone and of multiplayer servers having to be hosted by other people through port forwarding or such other means, which should honestly be only done with friends and people you trust anyway. Retro is definitely the better one of these at the moment, boasting a much broader repertoire of clients from different time periods with a minimum of 3 per year, while Novetus only barely supports clients up to 2012 and generally there's only 1 or 2 clients for every year, not to mention the plethora of features that it's missing in comparison to its single contemporary. And as much as I appreciate what the Novetus UI goes for, it's fixed at its very small size, which makes it rather cluttered and annoying to navigate in comparison to the large and sleek UI Retro has. Though I will say that the avatar preview that Novetus has is nice. The only thing I can knock against Retro is that in comparison to its predecessor, it's missing clients from 2014. But realistically, managing as many clients as the launcher currently contains is no easy feat, so to add on 3 more on top of that would likely be a nightmare. However, what really makes Retro definitively better is the fact that it mutes the studio host tab by itself, so I don't have to go into the volume mixer every time to do it myself. Really fucking annoying. So yeah, I know it's more tempting to go and sign up for one of these shady-ass revivals, because, you know, people. But honestly, if you're looking for that, just go play like Retro Studio on the site itself. You'll find the exact same type of person there as you would on these. Anyways, now is the second part of the Roblox equation. Places to actually play. This is where the problems start to arise. These launchers already have some built in, but if you're anything like me, they aren't going to suffice for very long. Securing your own places can prove to be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're looking for an old game, which barely anyone played at the time. For some reason, most Roblox developers don't seem to like having their really old, forgotten, and long broken game be easily copied and preserved with the click of 2 buttons, or even potentially fixed by somebody else. So, most of these places are going to have to be gained through other means. Uncopylocked copies of then popular places on the Roblox website and stolen level files gained through exploits are all around the internet. But trying to find any of them yourself is bordering on a Sisyphean task thanks to the rapid growth of Roblox since 2016 and the actual fucking disrepair that its search engine is in. So for that, we have map packs done by other people, such as The Archive, which is a 40 gigabyte collection of various places from Roblox's past. For your information, most of them clock in at around 5 to 8 megabytes and very few go above 20. It is quite extensive. Of course, the grand majority of people aren't exactly willing to harbor a beast of these proportions filled with only Roblox place files on their PC. So, you know, fucking tough luck for them. Now, you could argue that you don't need to do any of this. As I mentioned in passing earlier, on Roblox itself, there are games that surprisingly accurately simulate what the experience used to be like. Also, most of these games sucked anyways. Let me ask you something. Do you know the joy of being able to experience something forgotten once again? Playing an old, relatively unknown game on a constantly changing platform, almost just as it was back then. What you're looking at is a game called Roguecraft, which is certainly an attempt. This game is as dead as dirt. As far as I knew, there weren't any public places containing it on Roblox, and certainly none that worked. I played this all the way back in 2013, and despite my total playtime probably being around maybe 2 to 3 hours, I nonetheless have vivid memories of it, and I've always wanted to play it again for years. 2017, 2018, so on and so forth. This place lingered in the back of my mind, and on one fateful day last year, I was lucky to find a copy of it on the archive. Being able to play this again was really fucking cool. And look, I'm more than aware that this game's a steaming pile of shit. Similar to most games on Roblox. It's nothing more than a pointless grind fest that doesn't reward you in any way for taking it up at any point. But it burrowed itself deep into my memory, and I wanted to see it again, goddammit. To this day, I don't really know for sure who the original creator of this game was. It's kind of up in the air whether or not it really was this guy, and Roblox is at this point, I'm willing to say, intentionally terrible search engine would bog down any attempt at trying to find out. But that guy is responsible for something I hold somewhat close to my heart. You can simulate what the essence of Roblox itself was back in the day, but in my opinion, that doesn't really preserve much aside from an impression of general vibes. It's like a mold of a dinosaur fossil in a museum. The real thing is so much cooler to see, and in this instance, experience. And that's why we need projects like Retro, like Archive, so we can play old Roblox without this icon in the top left corner. Anyways, aside from indulging in nostalgia, there's always the curiosity aspect to it. One of my favorite things to do nowadays on Roblox is to hop on Super Place Roulette and see what kind of forgotten relic it serves me. I'm really fascinated by old forgotten places that the creator used to dick around on, filling it with free models and or building something for them and their friends. True, most of them are not really all that interesting, but those few that contain bits and pieces of the creator themselves, how good they were at building, what they like to do in their free time, what they found funny, really pique my interest. I specifically enjoy towns built for a friend group. As somebody who had once a game of that kind for which me and my friends would build stuff, it's super cool to see. One downside of this activity is that often I'll run into places with broken scripts. The deprecation of hopper bins, for example, has been a disaster for any place made pre-2014 or so, as any sort of vehicles or tools that use them are essentially dead weight. These launchers in the archive are a great resource for this that avoid that issue. I can finally play Domo Obby Tycoon and use the fly tool at the end of the obstacle course. In fact, it's even better for exploring random places. The archive doesn't contain 10 trillion base plates and template places, unlike the nigh infinite expanse of what's on the Roblox website. Another thing is that none simulator will be so closer to the old Roblox. An example of this, at least in the simulations I've played, is server-sided player physics. Here's a cool thing you can do if you want to download any of these launchers. Host a server on anything before late 2008. The input lag is fucking horrible. This is a result of Roblox's server-sided player physics, and I've never really heard anyone mention it as like an old Roblox fun fact before. Keep in mind, you're hosting the server directly on the device you're using it to play on. So imagine being like a little Kazakh kid trying to play Roblox back in mid-2007, and imagine that kid trying to do a thing as simple as beat a 10-stage obstacle course. On top of the already terrible movement physics that these older clients had. Of course, this is only an issue on the earliest of clients, but there are still many jankier little things that are simply not there or impossible to accurately replicate because of Roblox running on an infinitely more robust and polished engine. And some like these people only ever playing on whatever's the closest to modern Roblox anyways, because I guess they must have misread the sign. What importance do these things carry? Some. I realize that trying to argue for and against this stuff sounds incredibly childish and that I probably have better things to do, but it matters to me. So much shit is wiped off the internet every day without as much as a whimper to be left behind. And I hate seeing it happen to a game I spent so much time playing, whether or not it even directly concerns me, and despite the fact I'm not at all the target audience anymore. I hope to make it clear that I'm not trying to be that guy who thinks, wow, Roblox used to be so much better. Remember ticks? But I'm also at the same time not trying to be the guy that goes,
Actually, Roblox was really bad back then. It's just your nostalgia goggles are on too tight.
I'd like to think that this stuff is a little more than just nostalgia to me. I was 3 years old in 2009, and yet I genuinely enjoy playing Insta-Give Fight in the Fog in the way that it was meant to be played. This is fun to me. I find it fun. If you know of any old uncopylocked places that you can't seem to find inside the archive, consider passing those on to them. Maybe you're one of those developers that have abandoned, or worse, locked their once mildly popular old games completely, and yet have not uncopylocked them so that anyone with fond memories relating to them is shit out of luck. If so, send me a place file only to me and keep the game locked. You can trust I'll never open that for more than a minute. Anyways, I think that's everything I have to say about this topic. I'm fairly familiar with the history of Roblox, but this stuff is understandably a little hard to find any documentation on. If I got anything wrong in this video and you're a big old Roblox expert, okay.